Finally got the garden cleaned up, so I can show it off a little bit. It's still a little dirty, but you won't see the edges. We laid down some straw just for mud issues. I didn't rake the bumps and dimples out from the birds because it adds exponential amount of surface area to the ground. There's the robin right up there watching me, the one I raised last year. They have a nest in that tree right there, so they can keep an eye on me in the room there. It's just to keep the mud down and to add more surface area, so when it rains, the rain collects in those puddles and those little ponds that are made, and it gives it a chance to soak into the ground instead of just run off. And it makes it a little uncomfortable to walk, but you know, we're just going to have to be a little more uncomfortable in a permaculture world. And it's good for your brain. It increases your balance if you're on uneven ground. There's science behind that. Yeah, let me show you the garden. The partial greenhouse with the unusual just painted boxes, bee box, new one ready to go in. There's a bee. There's a bee on the underside of that tomato leaf, just hanging out, chilling. There's some chives, some tomatoes. They're doing okay in this semi greenhouse without the edges. There's the firehouse hive from the Oakland firehouse. It fell. It was in a tree, natural hive. Probably one of mine might have swarmed. But this was the trunk that it was in. I was using it as a worm tower, but now it's a potato tower. These potatoes start all the way at the bottom down here somewhere. This is all compost bin that I compost from a restaurant and a couple houses. And this is a natural weave of a fence that I make to keep the chickens from scratching stuff out of here, and then I have to keep cleaning it. I still have to keep clean stuff up down here anyway from them and put it back in there. It's not a real big deal, it's expected, but I try and minimize it with this fence, this woven fence. There's some thyme and some chamomile, German chamomile. There's some leeks down here and other various stuff that I picked out of the garden or out of the compost. A lot of the stuff here is stuff I picked out of the compost. The celery, some leeks I picked out of the compost. There's the celery that I picked out of the compost. Some tomatoes. There's a celery that I picked out of the compost. It's just coming back from the inside. I'll cut those nasty looking ones from the outside out. There's some greens in here. There's some celery that I picked out of the compost that are already coming up. The early garden was out of the compost. Things that were growing in the compost I picked out. Mini garden with beets and peas. Nothing coming up yet, soon. Firehouse beehive, very active. Here's a split that I made. This split came from the pond hive over there. There's a door I'm going to make out of a mirror. This hive I split and I put over here. Preferably it would have been nice to get them out of the yard, but I can keep an eye on them here. It's hard for me to get around. So, and there's some hens. You're bad hens, you're not supposed to be over there. You're lucky she doesn't have a garden anymore. You're lucky she likes you. Off of your heads. Off of your heads. The grapes coming up. I'm using this to make a green screen so that I can help keep the birds in this yard. And the end of these flowers. These are nice. I really like these. They got beat up a little bit by the rain. Some kind of narcissus or something. Real delicate looking. Azalea's done. Here's something coming up and getting ready to flower. I don't even remember what it is. Lily of the Valley that snuck in here from other stuff. Just got into the soil and came up. In the pond. This is where the bees come to drink. This little marshland right here. There's about, I don't know, 10 or 12 honeybees in there right now. They love that marshland because they don't have to worry about drowning. You know, some of the more daring ones land on the marsh growth there, these plants. That hive is doing outstanding. I mean, all those boxes are filled with bees. And you hear that? Where are you? Where are you, Robin? There he is. There's the bird I raised last year, talking and screaming at me like, yeah, like you always do. He does flybys. Look at him up on the roof now. He does flybys and smacks me with his wing because he thinks he's a badass. You think you're a badass? Don't be leaving your kids for me to watch. It's not my job. Just because I did it for you, don't think this is some kind of Cadillac Robin house. You got that? You're in charge of your own children, mister.